Tejas is catching back up to home. The call is still in progress. Uh, if you're new to Ultimate, another rule is that while a call is going on, none of the players can move from the area they're standing in, and that's why you see that for this point during all the calls, the players were standing essentially in freeze wherever they were while the call was made.
Some top-notch handler marking by Yashas. It's very important when you're marking in tight spaces to stay close, force a throw. On this occasion, of course, it was a foul. He quickly uncontested it, so the disc remained with the offense, but that was really good marking to see.
And BPHC try hucking it deep. It looks like it'll be near the end zone, and I believe it's Mithun who grabs it out of the air. Mithun with the disc, who sends it to Tejas, who sends it to Swati. Great grab by Swati given the wind. To Yashas, back to Swati. To Yashas again, to Ananya. They managed to gain some great yardage. To Tejas, to Ananya, to Mithun. They're one cut away from the end zone. To Tejas.
Tejas makes a jump there in order to, stop his defender from getting to it. So some very good, fine movements as Ananya makes a pass to a wide open Ashray. I'm looking out to see if there's a pick call, but there is none. So it means really good positioning by Skywalkers, and they were able to shake the defense of BPHC a bit. I was trying to see what kind of look they were coming out with. It wasn't exactly a zone. It was a person defense, but perhaps a little too much space. So it was not a very tight defense that allowed Skywalkers to take many passes in between. So this point was all about short passes to people wide open, taking the right positions.
those, now we're back. For those who missed it, the pull was made by Bits Hyderabad and was dropped by Tejas from Skywalkers right outside the end zone. The wind played a part in it as it is very windy. However, he should have been catching that 90% of the time.
Happens to the best of us, that's what they say, right? Every time this happens, some things are unavoidable. So we did come back after the halftime with Skywalkers on offense. So we had a pull which was dropped, and BPHC puts in the immediate break. So the score now stands at 5-4, still 2 Skywalkers. So it is still Skywalkers who are 1 break point up. So they still have the advantage. They're 5-4 up, and they are now setting up their offense line.
And for those of you who are new to the sport, you would have seen the Skywalkers and Bits Hyderabad crossing over. At halftime, both teams changed sides from the end zone they started at, as well as if you started the first half on offense, irrespective of what happens, the very next point, at the first point of the very next half, you do the opposite.
So the pull has gone up, and Skywalkers are on offense. We have Siddharth on the left wing on the horizontal stack, what it's looking like, and we have Gayatri on the right side of the horizontal stack. Just when there's a pop that Tejas passes to Swati, who makes another pass to Ananya. Ananya is looking for the dump to Pratika. Pratika on the sideline makes a really good fake, and in a tight space dumps it back to Tejas.
Tejas has made a call. Looks like it's a call for fast count. Stalls coming back in at 2.
Unfortunately for Skywalkers, that's another turn. Johnny looks for a quick break. All the players are seeming alert, so he isn't able to make an upline throw. Johnny now looks for the dump. That isn't successful, but there is a call made on Gayatri, so there is a foul call.
That looked like a bit of a foul to me. It looked like the catcher was able to get her hands to it, and as a result of the contact, she dropped the disc.
The players are right now giving perspective. There is one thing that we see very often, right? When you are playing on a team, your perspective very often is such that you think that your team is in the right and the opposition team might have done wrong. But there are also very few instances where we see where even if it might go against you, you give a perspective that you think was honest, which may go against you. So that is very interesting to see whenever it happens. That's what we call the spirit of the game, always standing for what's right, whether you are benefited by it or whether you are hurt by it. So the disc on this occasion was contested. So Johnny makes an upline pass to number 21, Siddharth, I think. I'm not sure, I'll just check. But it unfortunately was a turnover.
Tejas picking up the disc and going to the sideline. He's going to the center of the field where they've pointed him to a spot. They're trying to figure out where the disc was turned over. To Ananya, to Mithun, to Swati. This is some great offense from the Skywalkers. Can they end in the score? Yes, they can.
Swati makes a bladed pass to Gayatri right in the slot. Gayatri not in, so she's just outside. Makes a high release rescue to Ananya. There is a stall out call. There is a stall out call that is uncontested. So it is looking like that's a turn. Very unfortunate. Gayatri did manage to get off a high release. So it seemed like Skywalkers had managed to get out of that, but unfortunately not.
Up until the end zone, this was some pretty solid offense from the Skywalkers. They were able to find the slots, get the passes there. They just lacked the final product. It's a huck from Johnny. Tejas is competing, and Tejas gets it. A foul call is made. Retracted.
Interestingly, the foul was made by the defense, so it's called an offensive foul as per the rules of Ultimate. So they just called the foul on the offense player, which he agreed, but it was inconsequential since Tejas anyway got the D. And as we've been speaking, just in traditional Skywalker style. Many short passes had made it through, but on this occasion, the connection from Pratika to Ananya not working out for the dump. We are seeing the exact same thing. Johnny picks up, unleashes a huck. This time it was a little closer to being caught, but again, it's not caught. Number one makes a really good attempt, but isn't able to haul it in.
Between the wind and the angle of the disc can be a bit tough to read at times, especially in the really windy conditions.
It was Vaishnavi there who seemed like she had the right position, but the disc just a few inches away from her. But there has been a call. It doesn't look like it's affecting the play. It's unfortunately an injury call. So we see a player just walking off. But yeah, there is no consequences on the disc as such. It was a turnover. There is a player who is walked off and has been substituted. Interestingly, whenever the opposition team takes a substitute in between a point, the other team also gets the chance, whether you had the injury or not, just to make things fair. So that is one of the other rules. Just as Tejas makes a pass to number 27, Gayatri, and gets it back, it's looking very tight for Skywalkers, which means that BPHC has really upped their defense. They're holding conventional force. If you remember just a few points back, I was pointing out how their defense was a bit loose and they were probably not working as a unit. But now it seems like it's coming together. But just as I say, Skywalkers making some quick passes. You see Mithun, Tejas, Ananya all involved in the action. Not a lot of yardage gain, but unfortunately on this occasion, Swati makes a drop. It was catchable, it was a hard one, but here we are, BPHC on offense.
The disc goes to Johnny. Johnny quickly passes it up. There are a few fakes. He's looking for options. He sees Johnny with the in cut. Back to the handler with the dump. Ooh. A great cut on the break side, and that's up. Can he catch it? The wind is taking it out.
It was a good look by Vaishnavi. So many times when learning Ultimate, we are told that always look at all errors in terms of decision errors and execution errors. So it means that sometimes the decisions you make are at fault and sometimes you made the right decision. You just didn't execute it that well, which means you have to go back and practice that. So on this occasion for Vaishnavi, she got it. She had a good cut upline which she could have scored, so she took the shot, which was good to see. It was a small execution error. The wind picked it up, not enough spin on the disc, and a turn, and it's Tejas of Skywalkers once again with the offense.
Mithun is going for the upline, and Mithun gets it there. Mithun faked the huck, and looks like Tejas wants the dump pass back. Mithun decides to pass it in front, and it's an interception by BPHC Hyderabad.
Aman walking up to the disc. Skywalkers are coming out with a person mark with a force flick, so that's a force forehand. But the breakthrows still go. Johnny does put off a very good breakthrow. The continuation didn't happen. Seems like Gayatri allowed the breakthrow, so there are a lot of continuations happening on the break side. But yeah, they are now changing attack.
And Aman with the disc, sending it deep to Johnny, and Johnny grabs it. That was a great catch, because if you saw, he was under pressure from both Mithun and Ananya.
Just hope that the players are okay. Johnny is walking up to check on the player, but that remains a score nevertheless. The score is now 5-all. Rohan?
I believe so.
So here we are. It seemed like Skywalkers had the more seamless offense, seemed like they had it sorted, but BPHC is coming back, and the scores are now tied at 5-all. The scores are tied at 5-all, and that was Johnny there playing a very crucial role. He had uh, many hucks in this game. He even hauled the score in. Of course, he did spike the disc. He had a lot of excitement. What do the rules say for this tournament, Rohan? We have seen that in USA Ultimate, spiking is considered, all right. What do the rules say here?
I believe as per UPAI guidelines, spiking the disc results in a fine to the player.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know about the fine, but yeah, I think it's also part of our Indian culture where we value the equipments we play with and we use our tools. So if we look at the disc as a tool, you wouldn't want to, hit the disc down on the ground. But yeah, as long as I think there's no damage, they can continue using that disc. It's interesting to see if that was noted by either of the teams, if it will be brought up in the spirit circle. I do remember looking at the spirit score criteria, and they do say that spiking the disc is something you need to penalize. But well, right now it doesn't matter. The pull goes up by BPHC Ultimate. The scores are 5-all. Skywalkers, time to redeem themselves. Let's see what they can do.
Tejas picks up the disc. Ashray is there looking for the dump. They send it to Ananya. Ananya's looking for options. There seems to be a lot of clogging in the cutting lane for the Skywalkers. Ashray, who's the captain, sends it forward. There was first an upline look to for Ananya. Back to Tejas. To Ashray and just over Ashray. This could be put down to the wind. It could also be put down to the slight mishandling of the disc. Om picking it up for BPHC Ultimate. And it's back to Om, number 14, and it's passed forward. And a dump pass is made. And great grab by Om down low. Om is looking for options in the deep. Does he get them? He doesn't, so he has to make the dump pass back to the dump handler. Back to Om. There are a few cuts that I can see. However, they're not.
That was Anish, right? Number 99, who had gone deep, coming back. The disc is now with 14.
That's a bladey throw, and that's an exceptional grab.
For the first time in this game, BPHC Ultimate has taken the lead. The score is now 6-5. They started off really slow. They were down by 3 points, 3 full breaks, and somehow they have managed to come back in. They equalized the score. They got the break points in, and they have managed to haul in another score. So with about 10 minutes to go, we are under 10 minutes to go for the soft cap. BPHC Ultimate has taken the lead. A reminder to everyone who's watching, this is the fight for seed 5. It's a 5v8 game, so the winner takes seed 5, which is the highest position they can finish in this bracket of 5 to 8. So Skywalkers now feeling the pressure. They do have the skills on skill set, as I mentioned before. It is a very evenly matched contest. It's now all about who can hold their nerves, who can get their fundamentals right, who can do what it takes at that moment.
We must keep in mind that the Skywalkers have nothing to lose because they've come into this game as the 8th seed, and if anything, they only have everything to gain by beating Bits and going ahead of them. And if you watch the last point, it was the perfect example on how to get the D and how to be patient on offense, not hesitate to make the dump throws before you get that final product, and it resulted in a great catch at the end zone. That's the pull from Johnny. It's being picked up by Mithun. Open pass to Ananya. Back to Mithun. Back to Ananya. They're gaining some free yardage to Swati now. And it's being sent to Yashas. That's a great catch by Yashas under pressure. Yashas is looking for his options and he sends it to Ananya. That was a great effort at defense. Ananya is looking for people to throw it to, and Yashas is there, and Yashas grabs it, and it's a great point from the Skywalkers.
What a game this is turning out to be. The score is now 6-all. I was wondering if it was fatigue for the Skywalkers, because Rohan, if you notice, BPHC Ultimate do seem to keep rotating their players a lot. It seems like they do have a slightly thicker squad, but Skywalkers have been pretty much coming out with the same line point after point. And in a 2-day tournament where you're playing games back to back, there will be some amount of fatigue setting in, which perhaps caused a few of those turnovers. We can blame the wind, but you know what? They have the throws. So if they had to put it in, they could, and that's what we saw in this point.
That is true. The Skywalkers do have a relatively thin squad, and it's very impressive of how the quality of Ultimate they've been able to play throughout the tournament on very little rest, because they played 3 matches yesterday and this is all their second match today. And going more than 75 minutes 5 times in a row is very exhausting, and the fact that they've been able to compete with every team they faced is surely incredible.
This is a point where we have 4 male players, so it will be the male pool. We have from BPHC Johnny, we have Anish, right, and we have 71 Neerav, and we have Aman. So we have Johnny, Aman, Neerav, and Anish. Let me just look at who the female players are.
And this is the first point in a while that Tejas gets off. He's been playing almost every point.
Yeah, I apologize for not being able to name the female players. Seems like they've been switching the jerseys a bit. Happens in a long tournament, isn't it? Where you have to make do with what you get. But some intense defense from Skywalkers in a tight space. BPHC somehow turns the disc over.
The BPHC team could have looked out for double team, because both defending players were very close to the person with the disc. And for those who don't know what a double team is, a double team essentially means that there are 2 defensive players within 3 meters of the person with the disc and the person handling. That's a great grab from Yashas.
So Ananya centers the disc, collects it back. In windy conditions, it's even more riskier to progress on the sideline, and Skywalkers recognizing that. Every time the disc goes to the sideline, they are centering it. That's one thing they've been consistently doing in the last a few instances. Ananya had a good look, but unfortunately the player slipped. It has been raining on and off. We have had rain over yesterday and today. It's making the grounds a bit slushy, a bit uneven, but there's nothing the players can do. So that is a turn. Ayush seemed like he could have got the disc. Oh no, it's a foul call. So Ayush called a foul. So probably he tripped on the player, on Anish, and Anish accepted that. So it was an accepted foul. So the disc comes back to Ayush, and there are a few quick passes. Goes back to Ananya, who passes to Pratika, if I'm not wrong, who looks for a second to Gayatri but decides against. Disc back with Ananya. Ananya makes a pass to Mithun.
Mithun is looking for options and he throws it straight to Aman.
This is what we call a poach. So Aman poached from his player, took the lane, a very smart poach, managed to get the D. What an even contest this is turning out to be.
And very rightfully so, Aman calls a double team on the Skywalkers. We've seen that they've been getting a bit close with their defense.
Double team means that 2 defenders cannot be within 3 meters of the same player if there's only one. But that call seemed to have maybe disrupted the momentum a bit, because BPHC turned it over. IO throw that couldn't land, and once again Skywalkers are back at the center. Very often we see that you want to have the disc for as long as possible with the throwers in your team who have the widest range of throws. So that is what we are seeing right now with Ananya and Mithun having the disc for most of the offense points for Skywalkers. Ananya makes a pass and it was caught. There's a lot of wind, there's a gust of wind. Pratika manages to hold on to the disc with the wind, and she makes a pass to Yashas, who's just on the end zone line. I wish I could see a little more structure from Skywalkers on this end zone. It's almost like I could see this turn coming because there were too many cuts and they just couldn't organize in time, with of course the wind making it harder for them. But it was a turn, and I would like to apologize for misnaming a play. I think this is not Pratika, this is Harshita on the line. It's number 7, Harshita, who did make a very good cut to get the disc but couldn't transition and make a score. And recognizing that this point has been very long and both teams have not been able to structure their offense, BPHC calls a timeout. So in this tournament, both teams have a timeout available to them, one timeout in each half, and we see that BPHC has taken the timeout. At a very crucial juncture of the game, BPHC Ultimate took a timeout and they are now back on offense. It's been a long point, and Skywalkers after the timeout have come out with a zone look, and rightly so. The wind has indeed picked up as the game has progressed. A brilliant save from number 71, Neerav. What a catch that was, keeping his team on offense. They are looking for a sideline trap. I don't know if Neerav could have called a double team. Can't see too closely from here, but well, got to give it to Skywalkers. They did manage to get the turn, and think Ananya was walking up to the disc, but perhaps to give the players a little more time to set up, Ananya walks away and has someone else take the disc, and there is an upline cut made to Yashas, which would have been a score. Yashas has been making some brilliant grabs throughout this game, but unfortunately for him, the disc dipped and he wasn't able to haul it in. And Mithun had a good look. Perhaps a slightly better throw could have helped. But just as we see, it's a very strange turn of events with Aman trying to pass it to Johnny, the Wind picking it up. Wind is indeed being the 8th player here, as they say, or the 15th player rather. But Skywalkers once again on the end zone. Ananya makes a pass to Mithun. Back to Ananya. I do feel that Skywalkers are too restricted to just one half of the end zone. And that's exactly what I would have liked to see if not for the wind. Ananya making a brilliant throw to Yashas all the way from one side of the end zone to the other. And Skywalkers somehow clinches this point. What a point that was. What a throw from Ananya. and Yashas, who's been the reliable skyer of the team, manages to get that score. The score was 6-all when Skywalker scored this one, taking the lead to 7-6, and the game will now be played 2-8. So we are past the soft cap. Which means that whoever gets to 8 first can win, which means that it's still not over. If BPHC manages to score this point and gets another break, they can also win. But Skywalkers are in the lead. So if Skywalkers score one more, they will have the game. So they're trying to defend with all their might. They have come out with a cup, and BPHC not making vertical yardage gain, but one thing they are doing that Skywalkers perhaps did not as much is utilizing the full width of the field. So we see the BPHC handlers, Johnny, Aman, pretty much moving from one end to the other. Aman thought he could get it off, but once again Yasha somehow manages to get his hand on the disc in the end zone. So Skywalkers are now on offense, and they will be on offense to take the game. And just as you would expect, you have one of their lead handlers, Tejas, who have been talking about a lot this game, going for the disc. BPHC does look charged, I'm not going to lie. They really think they have a game on their hands here. Tejas just clarifying where the disc went out so that he can get the disc back up to that point. Yashas makes a deep cut, but I don't think it's the right time to put a deep throw. A very, very rare misconnection between Swati to Ananya, and BPHC quickly trying to take advantage are at just the end zone. Another stroke of wind that you couldn't control, and it is another turn. There's a lot happening here. Wind is really playing a part. Skywalkers on offense for the game once again. Ananya to Tejas, Tejas to Mithun, Mithun to Swati. They're gaining yards bit by bit in every game, every pass, to Yashas again. But once again, Skywalkers are playing on the right side of the field. Ananya does make a complete catch, but there is some stoppage. Couldn't gauge from the hand signals what it was, but we are back with Skywalkers on offense, with BPHC forcing forehand for the right-handers. So they're forcing sideline, and they're doing a pretty good job. I haven't seen the Skywalkers take it to the other side, but it almost wouldn't have mattered because Ananya did have a clean shot on the right sideline itself to I can't see who, but I'm guessing number 7. I'll update when I see who that was, but it is another turn. I am afraid I won't be able to be here too long because I have a game of my own coming up. At this juncture, I will have to make a move, but a very interesting juncture. The game looking poised. 7-6 to Skywalkers, and Yashas gets the D. So Skywalkers are on offense once again for the game. But I leave it to all of you here to take it from here. It's been a great opportunity. Thank you so much.